move on to mounting the power supply unit. We're going to need power supply, of course. It's going to be part number, so this is step 25. Hi, my name is George. I think I'm like on the 4th video today, or something. And so, if you'd like to follow along and buy one of the 3D printers, there you go. It's down at the bottom. If you'd like to donate to the cause, please feel free to. There's a PayPal account in the description as well. So we have the power supply unit, and for those of you who have not done it yet, take your Allen wrench and just move it over to the 110 side for people in the US who have 110 voltage. For 220, make sure it's set to 220. It should already be there as it is. I did find out one thing about the power cord. They're actually trying to fix it in their warehouse, and for some reason they thought this was a US standard cord. It may be for other items, but not for what I use. I think this is actually Australia, if I'm not mistaken, and good old US. So you can see the difference, right? So, not a problem for me. Local electronics shop has plenty of these. You can pretty much just go ask your neighbor and they'll probably have some if they have a computer or some of that stuff. If you don't have 20 or 30 lying around yourself. Most of these, this cable is actually off my treadmill, which is in storage right now, but I have the power cable. So, 3 M3 by 10 screws, part number 24. Two M3 by 20 screws, part number 27. And we're also going to need 2 M3 nuts, part number 11. I'm going to make a count correction. You should have 4 M3 by 10 screws. We're going to remove, we're going to swap out these number 27s, M3 by 20 screws. For what I believe should be in there, which are the only flush head screws that you have here. This is part number 36, and the reason why is because this power cable has flush type holes, which is just a conical 45-degree hole or recessed for it to sit nicely into. So, I'm going to need our 3D printer, which is getting heavier and heavier. Trickier to make sure I don't step on the cables or smash that. Constantly moving these wires around, trying to get them out of my way. So, power supply unit should just mount right there. Take that around. Let's get a little better of a view. There are 4 threaded holes on the back of the power supply, and I'm going to place a screw in each one of those threaded holes so you can see the placement. And there you go. Terminal side, back side, and there you go. Okay. Scratch that. We are only going to need 3. 3 of the screw M24 screws. Some models may use 4, and that's if you have a different shape back here. My model only has 3 holes, so. That is barely even on there. I kind of don't like that. Well, those are the only screws that are going to fit, so I'm not going to use the M3 flat washers on these. Matter of lining them up and securing the screws like so. Now I just caught myself trying to use the 2 lower ones, but it's the 2 upper ones and 2 set in the middle, and then there's another set below. Go ahead and tighten these down. May be room for a washer, however I am not going to use it. Kind of don't want this power supply to come loose. I'd rather have the screw somewhat snug against the acrylic. So again, we're on step 25, attaching the power supply unit. And a power cable and switch right now as well. So this is the other part you will need, which is the power supply cord. This would be part number 52. So, part number 52. And I'm going to unwrap this while we wait for the train Okay, as we were waiting for the train to pass by, went ahead and unwrapped this. So you should have the power cable itself and the switch in there. So we're going to set this aside, and this is what we're going to mainly focus on for the moment. Now this is how it's going to sit when it's in the unit itself. And if you have to unplug any wires, just pay close attention to how they're wired. It's a DP ST switch, double pole, single throw, so it disconnects both the hot and the neutral from source, because in other countries when they have 220, both would be hot. So that's the reason for the DP ST switch. We're also going to need 2 M3 flat washers for this next step. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn this around. Make it hard on me, easy for you to see. I hope. No, maybe not. We'll try. Standing it on its side somehow. Like so. Okay, I wouldn't recommend anybody else do this, but I'm just going to do this for the camera. I'm kind of regretting it as we speak. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect these, holding it by the connector. So again, ground's in the center. Blue will go to the right, brown to the left. We're going to take these wires and feed it through the bottom on the right side, the hole with the mounting hole with no smaller holes next to it. And this switch itself will just snap into place. I'm going to turn this around so that it's this way. Nah, maybe not. And with just a firm push, that'll seat itself. So, take this connector to the side, bring back the wires that we disconnected, back up. I'm going to reattach it. Same fashion we disconnected it. I'm going to guide this below the threaded rod, the excess cable, and set that there. We're going to take screws 36, which are the flush mount. We're going to place those right in there. Backside we're going to secure it with the M3 flat washer. An M3 nut. Now it's going to be a little bit tricky for me. Apparently too tricky. So as you can see where the placement goes, I'm going to go ahead and just put this right side upside down actually. It's the washer first, then the nut. And we're going to tighten down. And repeat the process one more time, hopefully much more quickly, because we're already hitting 20 minutes. At least in my world. Pair of needle nose to secure the nut, to tighten it with the Phillips. Again, just because I'm using pliers, because that's what's handy. Socket set's less than 50 yards away, and I still just haven't gotten it. Now we're going to take this cable and feed it back through on the bottom slot that's right next to the switch. Another way to set that back up again. There we go. So, we are now going to attach the power supply unit. And it's going to go line, neutral, ground. So, you'll have a small cover that you just lift like so. You'll need to loosen your terminals. Take the ground wire first. Insert just below the flat square washer. Secure that down. Get a number 2 screwdriver, number 2 Phillips. There we go. And for good measure, I'm going to follow with the flat. Get a little more torque on that. We are now going to place, via the picture, the blue wire in the center terminal, which will be the neutral. Tighten that down. And place the hot in the last terminal for the hot brown wire. Torque everything down. Done with that. Since we're here, this board is just sitting here, you go ahead and using one of these bottom holes, you can see that right there. You're going to take this cable, which is the power cable for Sanguine Lulu board, whatever you want to call that. Still can't say it right. Just constantly embarrass myself. Okay, now you're going to take these 4 wires and feed it through this hole here, going underneath the threaded rods for both sides. At this point, you may just want to slide the bed over. Easier access. Now you won't be able to get all the terminals through at once, so feed one end at a time. Like so. Okay. Give ourselves some slack here. And loosen the other terminals next to that. Like so. And the order goes positive, positive, common, common. And common means ground, which will be the black wires. Insert one into each of the terminals for the common. And it's very important that you do not double up on them. You can risk overheating the board, overheating the terminal itself. Excuse me. Now we're going to place positives to the positive terminals, which were the red wires, and the black wires with the red stripe went into the common. Now we're just going to go ahead and snug everything down here. And of course, torque it down. Flat screwdriver. Good connections there. And that is it for step number 25. Quite a bit of work and a time-consuming task. careful of the wires. The other hole that was at the bottom is what I'm going to use to feed the stepper motor cable through now. Okay, you can see I got my terminal here. Pull out the trusty Gerber, straighten that out. Now if you have any loose terminals, like this one, I'm just going to give it a small squeeze, just till the blades are once again flat. This one actually got misshapen along with the other terminal. It bent. Okay. I reattach these to the normally closed contact and the common contact. And again, we are done with step 25. And we've already built the filament holder. And I'm getting pretty tired. It's 2:30, 2:40 something in the morning. The only thing I got building a Prusa i3 version B offered by Geeetech. There's links at the bottom if you'd like to buy. Now we are also going to need